Are you ready to unlock your creativity, fuel your vision, and help shape the Caribbean's future? On this episode of the Entrepreneurial View, we're diving into the heart of innovation with a leader who's transforming the business landscape across the region. Join me, Heneka Watkis-Porter, your podcast queen, as we explore a powerful interview with a Jamaican top business mind and spotlight an inspiring project in community connection. This episode is proudly brought to you by our sponsors, Jamaica Public Service Company, Digicel Video Concepts, and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. We'll be right back. She is a visionary leader at the intersection of art, business, and community transformation. As co founder and executive director of Kingston Creative, Andrea Dempster Chung is shaping Jamaica's creative economy and inspiring a new generation of innovators. With senior roles in the past at GraceKennedy, Digicel, and the Government of Jamaica, and as a member of the Global Creative Economy Council, Andrea's impact is felt from boardrooms to the streets of downtown Kingston. She has been recognized by Forbes Magazine as a woman leading sustainable development in the Caribbean and serves on global advisory boards in the arts and culture. Today, Andrea joins us to talk about creative entrepreneurship, leadership, and building a sustainable future for Jamaica. Welcome, Andrea. Such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
I'm super excited because we go way back, like, or on
Way.
way back. Our entrepreneurial journey started a long time ago. Just take us through that about your beginning in entrepreneurship.
Well, I mean, we could go way back to the small town of Falmouth, which is in the parish of Trelawney. And I think I have some privilege because I come from three generations of entrepreneurs. So my journey really started in Miss Rich's store, where she would sell the Star and she had a little shoebox at the front. And I would count out, when I came to visit now, I would be counting out the change for the customers. So this, I think, was where I first kind of got exposed to the whole, commerce and just being in a shop and customer service and counting up and being accurate and just being in business, being around business. And I noticed my father also has had businesses, my mother has had businesses, my brother has an entrepreneurial business. And having that gives you a grounding. It gives you a sense that this is normal. I notice a lot of especially women entrepreneurs, if you grow up in a family where daddy and mommy have only worked 9 to 5 jobs, like being an entrepreneur is like scary. But for me, thankfully, it's normal in my family. So when I say I want to start a business, they're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. They're not scared for you. So yeah, that's where my journey started. But I met you when I opened Bookophilia.
Yes.
It was, I think, my second business. First one was Dempster McLaren, a consulting company I started after GraceKennedy. And then I started my love child, Bookophilia, back in 2007.
Yes, and when you talk about Bucafilia, it kind of bring back, it warms my heart because my first business, Pato Apparel, I remember when I was, when I wanted a break from it, or when I just wanted to think and just to unwind and just be in that creative space, Bucafilia was the place for me. All the creatives that would go there and hang out and so on. So what inspired that business?
Well, that business came from filling a need for myself, a need I saw on the market. I'd come back to Jamaica and start working. And my thing when I was living in the States for 10 years was I would go to Barnes and Noble. That was where I would hang out and get lost in books and, enjoy book readings, book signings, all those things. So when I came back to Jamaica, I would take my godson to the bookstore and we couldn't touch the books. And the books were wrapped in plastic and a sign, do not touch. And I just said, no, this can't run. And so this is why I was really moved to start Bookophilia, to create a space for people who don't necessarily, the party and the bar is not necessarily them. They just want a third place, a place where they can hang, a place where they can commune with people. And that was what Bookophilia was, a bookstore and cafe on Hope Road. I said started in 2007, so that's almost 18 years now. I've since sold it, But that is a business that I truly, truly love. We had authors like Anthony Winkler, Marlon James, Kai Miller, like Diana McCauley launched her book Dog Heart there. So many moments, that really touched my heart.
You said something, Andrea, that is really very poignant, and if you're not careful, you could miss it, that you were feeling a need. Necessity is the mother of invention. So let's talk about the whole journey of entrepreneurship and how important it is that you don't just do something but you do it because you're feeling a need.
It's two things. Because the needs are many. You drive to Jamaica, you see a million needs. Which one is the right one for you to step into that space? It has to be something where you think you have a unique gift to give in this space, right? So for me, I've always been a reader, always loved books. I've always been a creative. I draw, I paint. So being in the arts, I felt I had something unique to contribute to that particular space. So it's not just there's a need or there's an opportunity, but what is there in you that you are so passionate about it? Because entrepreneurship is not an easy journey. Wait till I tell people, it's not all the glitz and the glam on your personal brand, Andrea. That is not what entrepreneurship is. There's times where, you're going to run into severe roadblocks. You're going to, feel like very lonely. It's a lonely journey when all your friends are going to the 9 to 5 and collecting their regular check, right? And your goods are delayed on the wharf. So you have to actually have that kernel of true passion, I think, for what it is you do. And luckily, both in Bookophilia and in Kingston Creative, that passion, that drive, I really genuinely have it. And that's what makes it fun, even during the hard times.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about Kingston Creative in a bit, but as somebody who's had many businesses, I myself, I would say multi-hyphenated person, serial entrepreneur. For me, that affinity, as it were, to my first business, it's just so strong because it's kind of like what gave me that, kick to, or even that confidence that, hey, you can do stuff. What's it like for you with Bookophilia being, well, it's not really a first business per se, but it's the first one I think that resonates more with you. Right. Tell me about that and how much it has played a role in the other things that you've done.
So Bookophilia kind of exposed me to what the creative landscape was. Without intending it, it became a hub for creativity. There were sculpture exhibitions, photography exhibition, Manifesto JA, if you remember that group with Protege, Kabaka Pyramid, Janine, all of them as young kids just coming out of school were on the stage performing because they needed a space. So Bookophilia, number one, taught me that there was a need, that there's a huge creative community in Jamaica and they needed space. And that, I think, was definitely a seed that was planted for future. Bookophilia also taught me how difficult it is to raise money as a woman, right?
Oh, yes.
I am a structural engineer, specialized in earthquake engineering. I have a master's in it, civil and environmental, and master's in
One would never have guessed.
Right. Well, just come back around.
Yeah.
I made a business plan, and it was, a FUD business plan. It was solid. And even with tertiary level education, big business plan, going into the banks, I shopped it around several banks, and it was impossible to get funding to open the business. I eventually got one bank to come there, and I tell the story all the time that he said, "Oh, so it's like a rum bar for women." And I'm thankful to say that I was able to raise capital from friends and family,
Right.
and that's how I started it. But that first business taught me some of these barriers that to people are invisible, right? You see women in a lot of management positions, and you're like, "Oh, thriving in Jamaica." No, when it comes to certain things, there are a lot of barriers towards women accessing capital. And I learned that personally.
So, and that is something that runs across the board in terms of industries. It doesn't matter what the industry is.
No, that is universal and it's actually global because you look at the percentage of women that get venture capital, I think it is 2% of all the venture capital goes to women. And when you look at women of color, then it goes down to fractional amount. So these are things that are real concerns because if women are driving the business sector, if women are operating a lot of these micro and small that will eventually grow to be large enterprises, then we have to make sure they have the capital that they need so we can grow our economy.
Absolutely.
Man versus woman is like, do you want Jamaica to develop or not? Then you have to make sure that half 50% of your population can access capital.
Absolutely. So for the entrepreneur that's listening, we're hearing a challenge right here, and particularly for female entrepreneurs. And one of the ways that you've mentioned you've navigated that is through funding from friends and families. What other alternatives would you recommend to somebody who is sitting perhaps in your shoe right now and thinking, how do I fund this business? Clearly, it is a viable idea. We've done the research, we've done all that's necessary, and all that needs to happen is that we need to get this thing funded. What would you recommend?
A number of things. I would say do try all the traditional methods. Do go to your banks. Do try and get an ally within the bank who can all you need is one person to understand and to advocate for you. Second thing is partnership. Sometimes when I know there's a room where people cannot hear me, be it because of race, class, color, gender, whatever you want to call it, I send the right soldier. Make a team that has a breadth of people, right? And send in the right soldier for the job, if it is that you want to raise capital. Third thing, community. There's so many, like when we started businesses, there was no crowdfunding platform, right? There were no ways to really, mobilize community. Now you have platforms like Kajabi and all kinds of things. So you could actually use your community to help to either trade services so you can get your business started, or you can, I see this a lot in the creative sphere. The filmmaker will partner with photographer, will partner with the talent, and then they split the profits at the end of the day. So you can leverage your community in-kind services to get it off the ground. And then the fourth thing would be minimum viable product. Yes, you have this big glorious idea. Just test it. Just start. Just do one small step. Do the smallest iteration of it and then build. And I think this is my engineering thing. I mean, brick on brick. Right? It never looks like what it's going to be, but my thing would be just start and start small with what you have, and then it can grow. That's
a lot of wisdom coming from an experienced entrepreneur. And so what we're going to do, we're going to dive into Kingston Creative. But before we do that, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
And vibes, and through it all there's a glow inside. Let's keep our shine alive.
From the market to the factory floors, from the hillside green to golden shores,
we're reaching heights, our energy that lights the sky. Shine bright, Jamaica. Shine bright, Jamaica. Feel the rhythm, we're on track. Feel it, feel it. Together we rise, together we climb. JPS Jamaica, together we shine.
Shine from the ends, shine with your family, shine with your friends. Light up the streets and make the vibes blend. Your JPS, they make the shine never end.
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial You. I'm here with Andrea Dempster Chung of Kingston Creative. And speaking of Kingston Creative, let's get right in. What's the genesis of Kingston Creative? What is it really, and how did it all start?
So Kingston Creative is a movement of people who feel that we are too talented to be so poor. You hear Jamaica, it's a big brand. We're synonymous with music, synonymous with dance, synonymous with fashion, just all the things. But yet, when you go to where the culture is creative, especially the communities in and around downtown, you find that this has been an unequal partnership, right? The creators of the culture are not benefiting from it. And that is the problem that Kingston Creative was created to solve. Right? It was, how can we leverage our immense talents that is indisputable for sustainable social and economic development? It's not just about the money. It's about how do we transform communities? How do we regenerate our downtown? How do we create more livable communities that are safer, generate more jobs and employment? And the creative economy has the power to do all of that. Fast growing, employs 50 million people worldwide, 2.253 trillion US dollar business. And I think what has happened in Jamaica is that so many people are so talented, we just take it for granted. We just think it's something people do naturally and we don't value it. We've never been really good at contracts and intellectual property, and that's how you now extract the value from this talent. So that's what Kingston Creative is about. It's about how do we create that ecosystem, how do we educate creatives How do we ensure that creatives can remain in Jamaica and still make the money and thrive and employ Jamaicans, right? Because the brain drain is a thing.
It's a real thing.
A lot of our creatives now have houses in Florida and all over the world. So how do we make sure that we have the right ecosystem here at home so that we can actually benefit from all of this immense talent that we have? So that's what Kingston Creative is. It's about people and it's about place.
Right.
But I do want to dispel one little myth though, because people hear Kingston Creative and think it's just about Kingston. But
Yes.
really, I'm an engineer, I'm building a model. It's a model that's scalable. It's a model that can work in Falmouth. It's a model that can work in Black River. It's a model that can work in Montego Bay. Any town that has creative people and a city center that maybe needs some rejuvenation, some kind of historical area, any town or city can really benefit from what you call creative placemaking. So
Right. And you've spoken a while ago about the transformation. How is Kingston Creative transforming the community? And by the community, I'm not talking necessarily right now about the extended community, but the community of Downtown Kingston in particular.
Well, the visual transformation is the most stunning. I think for people who haven't been there in a long time, there's no wrought iron archways in Water Lane. There's over 120 murals that have been created in the 8 years that we've been around. If you think about the employment that generates, if each mural is on average $1 million and Jamaican artists are earning, you can see immediately the knock-on effects. And then it's created a tourism hub. We have won the Best Attraction in 2024 and World's Best Creative Destination in 2023. We're on Expedia, Get Your Guide, TripAdvisor, all the works, and busloads of tourists are coming. And of course, it's also soft power. When the head of the United Nations comes, we get a call to say, or the head of the World Bank, they come and they want to visit our cultural center in the capital city, near our synagogue and our cathedral and our museums and our National Gallery. I mean, who on the waterfront, right? Who wouldn't want to? So it has a lot of spin-off benefits for the community of downtown. And we have a lot of visual artists to thank for helping to make that transformation happen.
So we look on the outside right now, and it seems all peachy. You've accomplished a whole lot with your team and all of that. I mean, in another segment, we're going to be talking about leadership. But I just want to get a sense of how much effort did it take to get to where we are now, what we're seeing.
So I liken Kingston Creative to an iceberg where 10% of it is above the water and 90% is below that is you never see. There is, for example, we partnered with the IDB in 2021 and did a 3-year, over $1 million program that was about developing capacity in creative people. We ran hackathons, we ran pitch competitions, gave millions in seed capital to creatives, sent 8 to 10 creatives on travel grants abroad to learn how to do business in different locations. So much work, grants, you name it, to make sure that creatives are good creative entrepreneurs, to make sure artists are good business people and can grow their businesses. So that's invisible work, because you wouldn't see the partnerships with Heart Trust NTA. You wouldn't see the new curricula that we've designed just for creatives to train them. So it's exciting work, but it's that's in the 90% under the water. We've also developed a climate change art park in Southside, a partnership with the city of Dubai and the city of Johannesburg in South Africa. The artists from South Africa came here. Our artist, Camille Cheddar, went to Joburg and gave a lecture, went to Dubai, showcased her work. I mean, we've opened doors for a lot of creatives through the work that we do that's investing in people. Right? So, and then the last thing I'd mention, which is kind of a little bit above the water, is the festivals. Because you can't just paint up some murals on a road, you have to activate the space. So the activation is, how do you get people to overcome their natural, generations long stigma and fear?
It's a real thing.
Yes, it's a real thing.
Yes.
My mother's Trinidadian, my father's Jamaican, but from country. So I didn't grow up with this fear of downtown.
I actually love downtown. Like, even before Kingston Creative, because I used to work downtown, but I digress. Let's get back.
Digicel, GraceKennedy. So
Yeah.
downtown.
Yeah.
But
A song came to mind. Oh my God. The Engine, I think.
Should be performing at the next Art Walk Festival.
Oh, nice.
Last Sunday. in June.
Okay,
But
okay.
I digress. So the Art Walk Festival is how you actually activate the space. And like I said, that's semi-visible. So this is a platform where it's a free public arts festival. We don't have enough public art. We don't have enough things that you can bring kids and family and the elders to, where generations can interact. And so we block the streets, and all the way from East Street over to Orange Street and from Tower Street down to Harbour Street is just music and food and artisans, and there's a big stage. And that festival helps to get people to overcome their fear. As I said, I thought that the fear was just, uptown people just, being cute. The fear is very, very real. When we started doing the festival, I used to get phone calls. Where do I park? I'm not sure. You know what? I turn back. I can't. Like, the fear is real. And so for us to really regenerate downtown, there has to be a cultural shift, a mindset shift, and that fear has to dissipate. And art is an excellent lever for helping people to see downtown differently. When you ask about transformation, I think that is one of the biggest shifts that has happened, and it's mental. It's that when people think about downtown now, they think about something different from how many people got shot or the crime level or let me clutch my chain. So I think that's a big win. But again, that's the hearts and minds and the psychological shifts that are very hard to measure.
Yeah. So all that you've said, it sounds so impressive, and I know it takes a lot of funding and everything, to get those things off the ground. Let's talk a little bit about your business model, how it's funded, all of that.
Yeah, so I mean, we have an excellent board, first of all. So just in terms of governance and structure, I, brought the same kind of approach I would bring from corporate to the NGO. And I think that's important. Even though you're running an NGO, you should still be using good governance principles, right?
Absolutely.
So we have an amazing board in place. We also have an amazing community. We started with an amazing community of about 100 volunteers who still are there as advisors to us. And our business model, we're funded by multilaterals, we're funded by the state, public sector, we're funded by private sector, and we're funded by third sector. So if you picture a stool with 4 legs, if you cut off one leg tomorrow, if tomorrow government change and our creativity is no longer the hip thing to invest in from the private sectors or the government side, you still have multilateral, you still have third sector, right? So I think it was important for us to build a model that was a combination of grants, public sector funding, also individual donations. We have people in the diaspora who donate, people who have, they just put it on PayPal, set it and forget it, and there's a regular PayPal donation that comes in. That's also what funds the work that we do. I think we don't understand how passionate people in the diaspora are about our country. And once they find something that they can trust or invest in and know that it's actually bearing results, they do invest, and there is this sense of philanthropy,
Right.
contrary to popular belief.
Right. So you've had some really amazing partners, Andrea. Let's talk about getting the buy-in. Maybe from the onset and compare that to now, let's talk about that journey.
Well, I think one milestone was when we started off, the first project was the meetups. We thought it was very important for people to have a sense that everybody had a voice. So we gathered people, everybody in a circle, what's your vision for downtown? And we articulated it. And that was a scary moment because I said, well, what we need to raise is 20 million Jamaican dollars. And to me at that time, with not a dollar in the bank for Kingston Creative never registered. So it was like $20 million sounded like a huge amount. And unbeknownst to me, there was a reporter from the Gleaner, and the headline the next day was Kingston Creative pledges to raise $20 million. I was like, oh my God,
No pressure.
oh, lots of pressure. But I was like, well, we just have to do it now. So now we just really have to do it. And so we started just putting things in place to raise these funds through grants, through what we call our first 100. So we have a group of,
I remember that.
we said, everybody's using our culture. They're using it to sell their widgets and sell their this and that and sell their drinks. Who is going to be the first 100 companies to actually invest in Jamaican culture? We're used to just using it whenever we need a little jingle, trivializing it, So who is going to be the first 100 to actually invest? Right now we're at 71. So we have a little ways to go, but I'm really encouraged to see corporate Jamaica investing and understanding that, this is good for all of our businesses. What people don't understand is the brand of downtown is a brand of Jamaica.
Because Kingston is Jamaica.
No,
I
Kingston is
mean,
not
what I
Jamaica.
mean, what I mean is the perception that
The
Kingston is Jamaica.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. If people think, oh, it's all shoppers and violence, then that affects whether people think that you're an investable location. It affects whether people are going to partner with you, trade with you. So art has a lot of soft power. There's reasons why people invest in their art districts, and it is about making your location and your country look like an investable location, a place that these digital nomads would want to come and register their businesses and start. Dubai has done an excellent job at positioning itself like that and make it easy for people to come, start businesses, and pour their money into the country.
All right.
So in our own little way, I hope that we are shaping that perception of Jamaica as an investable location as well.
Yes, and you mentioned Dubai because that's exactly where I wanted to go next in terms of some of the experiences that you've had personally. I mean, as a team, yes, but personally you've had because of Kingston Creative. Let's talk about that.
Well, Kingston Creative, like I said, Kingston, Jamaica is a big brand.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we're a small island developing state. Also, we're a global cultural powerhouse. When people think music, culture, they think Jamaica in a way that they don't think of the other 27 English-speaking Caribbean islands, right? And so we are invited to share our experiences quite often, speaking at the World Art Summit in Sweden or at the Abu Dhabi Culture Summit. I mean, things that I never thought I would do as a person who was shy, not like public speaking. But I think it's important for us to tell our story because even though we are small, I think we have a lot of valuable lessons to share with the world. And the world wants to hear, and the world wants to visit, and the world wants to support Jamaica. Over 4 million tourists came to Jamaica last year, right? So we're already that girl. Jamaica is already that girl. So it's just for us to really see what is it that we need to do to polish it up. So I've ended up being a de facto cultural ambassador in a way, you know.
Rightfully so.
Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, all of these different locations speaking about Jamaica's culture and how amazing Jamaican creatives are. And you know, it was really heartwarming. I was in the supermarket and I saw a creative, a filmmaker. And I said, hey, what's going on? So you went to New York and, you know, got that wonderful award, congrats. And so, you know, when I went there, like doors were open because people knew of Kingston Creative. And so I felt like,
A proud mama, huh?
that's what you hope that you're doing.
Yes.
That you're presenting a picture of Jamaican creatives. Not everybody can get to go to these places. And so it's important that when you do go, you're repping for the thousands of Jamaican creatives who, you know, are awesome and just need a shot.
Absolutely, because indeed many are living vicariously through your eyes. You know, I'm living vicariously through your eyes going to Dubai, which is you're living the life that, okay, that's on my bucket list. Dubai is next. So glad you've had that experience a number of times, all because of the work that you're doing. No doubt it takes amazing leadership to get Kingston Creative to where it's at right now. And we are going to be talking about leadership right after the break. So let's take a break.
What great stories do you want to tell today? We are your storytellers. We are Digital Video Concept. Trendsetters. Employing cutting-edge digital editing technology to deliver superior products on time, every time. Producing extraordinary imagery with high-definition cameras on the ground and in the sky. Excellence is in our nature. Call us today for all your video storytelling need. Are you ready? We are ready. Let's go!
Welcome back to the Entrepreneurial You. Of course, I am sitting with Andrea Dempster Chung. And before the break, we're talking all about Kingston Creative and the work that they're doing. And now it's very important for me to understand the leadership style, what it is that makes the running of Kingston Creative so effective. So tell us about your leadership style. What goes into your mind as you're leading people, you're leading your team, you're leading your investors, you're leading your board. What kind of leader are you, Andrea?
Well, I think my leadership style is shaped by who I am, right? And who and my values, right? So I'm
Yes.
very values driven. There's things I believe in freedom, respect, responsibility, integrity. You have to be able to take my word to the bank. And, and I really do try and instill this in everybody I work with. The leadership style, if I had to define it, there's a Latin phrase called primo inter pares. Because I've led in a number of different places and from a number of different positions. You do not have to be the boss to lead. So that's number one, right? I'm an excellent number two. I can tee you up for absolute success and you take all the shine, and my ego does not require that I am sitting in the top chair to lead, but I'm leading, right? So I want to emphasize that because not everybody is going to be at the top apex of an organization, and neither is it necessary. What you need to do as a leader, wherever you're positioned, is to understand what impact do I want to have, what legacy do I want to leave, and when you answer those two questions, then I think you're in a good place. So like I said, I'm an excellent number two. I think at Bookophilia as well, I never wanted to be up in the front and on the mic and that kind of thing. I never was.
But can I tell you something? It was in the later years that I knew that you were associated with Bookophilia, like very, very late in the game.
And that's great. I
Yeah.
love stealth. Stealth is also a strategy.
Yes.
Because sometimes, when you come across very forceful and people see you coming, those people who want to block you. And of course, we know we all have, little, humps that you have to get over. Sometimes stealth is good. Just move quietly. I used to work in housing, a Ministry of Water and Housing, and we used to have a big groundbreaking. I hate a groundbreaking. I prefer to do the handover. Right?
Yes.
When the job is done, then we're gonna make noise about it, and that's always been my stand. So I would say my leadership is it's not a quiet, retiring, shy leadership, but it definitely is. I'm very driven. I'm very values driven as well. Like I think we're here to do a thing. I'm also a visionary leader. So, I'm not down the details and micromanaging you. My brain is looking at big picture and where are we trying to go? Where do we want Jamaica in 50 years? Where do we want Kingston Creative in 10 years? Like I don't work off less than a 10-year plan. And then I also believe that because the vision comes to you in fully formed, and then you have to say, okay, how are we going to get there? And that's your strategic planning to get you to the vision. But the picture comes, you go on a mountain and I have a dream. The picture comes, and then you say, okay, let me build the steps to getting there. So you almost reverse engineer your plan to fit the vision. So that's my leadership style. I craft the vision, and I see myself, my role as the keeper of the flame. In every instance, I have to paint a picture of what if every Jamaican creative was able to succeed? What if, so I always have to keep that going because that I think is what drives people. Some people can't see further than today, tomorrow. They're based, they're really dealing in the day-to-day bread and butter issues. And so someone has to say, this is where we're going, and keep everybody inspired. And that's part of it. I think that's, if I had to think about it.
The keeper of the flame, I like that. Oftentimes the flame, when the vision is not yours. So when it's yours, it's okay. I mean, it's easy for you to stay at it. But when it's not yours, as in, yes, there's buy-in, but let's face it, these team members or whatever, they did not get the vision. It was you that got the vision, and you get the buy-in from them, right?
I actually disagree.
Yes.
I think that, in the ether, there's been a number of people who understand the power of creativity, and a number of people who want to see certain things happen. I remember I opened Bookophilia. We keep going back to Bookophilia.
Right.
But I opened Bookophilia and we're there and I'm at the counter and the lady comes and says, this is my exact idea. I had this idea and I was going to do exactly this and now you've done it. And I'm like, well, great, and it's done, Different people can share the same vision. And I think the key is to attract people who share the same vision, who innately wanted to do this a long time ago and just wanted a community of people to move with.
You're so right. Yeah.
Something in you already.
It was already there, right? Yes.
Already love creative people, or already understood that our economy needs to grow through leveraging the thing that we're best at.
Yes.
So I think it's about attracting like minds and creating space for everybody to have their role and their space to shine.
Yes.
In as you execute.
The keeper of the flame. Love that. Ideas are not new. It's really about the execution.
I say this all
yes.
the time. It's all about execution. I got a book from a boss of mine, Brian Goldsman, who used to work at GraceKennedy, and it was called The Art of Execution. And let me tell you, it was an excellent book. It really is about the doing of it. It's not about ideas. And this is why This is why, when some people say, well, I don't want to tell you my idea.
Because they're going to steal it. Yeah, like,
Nobody can execute your idea like you.
absolutely.
You understand? So I think people need to collaborate more. This is the other part now about the
Mhm.
collaboration over
Mhm.
competition.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a very small island with a very small pie, and we're fighting over scraps. The crab in the barrel, and I'm not going to partner with you because you're going to take this and you're going to eat that. That is keeping us really small. And so I really have to. There's many times I've sat down and said, "Okay, we don't have nothing to bigger over. Let's grow the pie, and then we can fight over who." Well, I have to do
Absolutely.
something
Yeah,
worth.
because right now it's a very, yeah. Yeah.
Let's come together and let's grow it together. And so growing the pie, I think, is a really big thing. And collaboration over competition has been a real kind of tenet of the whole thing. Because we Jamaicans, we're naturally competitive, but it can work against us because, to grow, we need to come together.
Yeah. Do you think though this is a cultural thing? Particularly, we have a Caribbean audience right here, right? And maybe because of our history, I don't know if we can always keep blaming and going back to history, but it does. It's part, it really does form part of who we are. And so I find, and this conversation has been going on for ages, like we often don't want to collaborate. We're more competitive, right? How do you shift in the work that you're doing? How are you shifting that narrative, changing that narrative?
Yeah. I think the key is trust.
Mm-hmm.
People do business with people they trust. And I think the IDB did a study of Latin America and the Caribbean where the area of the world with the lowest level of trust. And it impacts business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think it's around integrity for me. If I tell you I'm going to do X and I deliver X, then you can trust me and you can come on board next. So sometimes you talk to somebody and it's not time for them to come on board yet because the trust level isn't there.
Mm.
But I'm going to do X. I'm going to show you that I did X. And then I'm going to come back to you and say, okay, do you want to now do the next step together?
Yeah.
So it's keeping the door open. Every no is not a no
It's,
forever.
yeah, it's no, not right now.
Yeah. And I think also really it's how we look at people as well. Not demonizing people who don't want to work with you or who don't work in your style. There's a role for everybody in the thing. Not everybody is meant to be
Your
business
people,
partner with
yeah.
your hand, but someone can be an ally. I don't even have to get along with you. If we have something that we can do together, we don't have to be best friends. We don't have to be drinking wine together.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to learn that doing business is more than personality driven.
Mm-hmm.
It's about building smart alliances around common shared goals and being able to get out of your ego enough to be able to know, okay, well, I'm going to be number one in this, or I'm going to be number two, or I'm going to let you shine. Or I think that breaks up a lot of things.
Let's talk about that. So it's just knowing when to, because what I'm picking up here, Andrea, is knowing when to pull back versus knowing when, okay, it's my time to go forward. And that speaks to a lot of emotional intelligence. Let's talk about that where leadership is concerned.
Well, I started off, as I said, as an engineer, and everything is very black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally, I forget where, they had to send me away for a week to San Francisco to learn EQ, IQ. I didn't have it. It was
Yes.
black, it was white, and I wasn't pretty.
No gray area, right? Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Pat Casey at Digicel, a mentor of mine. He ran global HR for Digicel, and he's like, Andrew, you have to learn the grade. And so thankfully, I picked up a little of that. It does take emotional intelligence. It does take seeing people out as humans, having compassion, having empathy, understanding that the person you're seeing today, this version of them isn't really them. We all kind of step into a role when you come into business. Everybody could have a bad day. So giving people grace, I think, allows for better business relationships too. So those are just a few of the things, and every day you try,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of grace, my social enterprise that I referred to earlier is called Grace to Grow. And it's there that I met, one of your team members
Yeah.
who spoke so much about your empathy, right? Let's talk about the role of empathy in leadership.
I have been given a lot of empathy on my journey and a lot of advice, and I think I was probably very difficult to manage as well. Coming up in my 20s, I wanted to do everything and I wanted everything now,
Yes.
And so now I think at this stage I can have that, I can give that grace back, that empathy back to people. I also try and, not get stuck in how things used to be. So when I was coming up, you arrived at work at 8 a.m., you signed a big book, you wearing your stockings and your heels, and you work till 5 or whatever. And now the workplace is so different and so dynamic, right? People want more flexibility. People want to balance their lives and their mental health and their families and different aspects. I don't know about bringing their whole self to work, but they want to bring out, they want to be able to be authentic.
Right.
And so we have introduced a lot of these things. So we have wellness days at Kingston Creative. So you don't have to tell me what is going on with you. There are 10 wellness days, personal days that you can just take. Also, we do like 3-2s. So you could be 3 days in office, 2 days out, or whatever suits you. We also do job shares. If you find that going don't work for you, fine. We'll get 2 people to do the job and it's a job share. Y'all just communicate when you swap back over and it's fine. So a lot of these things that I think the traditional working environment in Jamaica does not embrace. We have the bean bags and we have a swing in the office and, we kind of just allow for people to be people. And they tend to love that. They love the community, they love the environment, and they work harder for you when to all the employers out there, it might sound like, it's all this frou-frou and you're giving too much, but you get a lot from people who feel that, you're allowing them to be human in the working experience.
All right. So I hear what you're saying, and it sounds like this is so appropriate, more so for the creative industry. Is this model, in your opinion, transferable to other industries?
Yeah, I think so. I used to be head of HR and organizational development at Digicel.
Mm-hmm.
So from that HR's perspective, we looked at productivity, we looked at turnover, we looked at what people wanted. And it is a balancing act. You can't give everything, but you must be competitive. Otherwise, you're going to find it really, really hard to find people to do your work. If you don't adjust your with what's happening in the changing times, you're going to find it very hard. No young person anymore wants to do this 9 to 5, come in, stand up, give your soul. And they're not staying with you for 20 years for no gold watch either. Them the days they don't. So I think employers, we complain about it. Like when I get together with like other entrepreneurs, like, Lord, it's so hard to find these young people, but we have to adjust to because the world is theirs. And we have to understand their psychology and how to get the best out of them with what's going on.
Right. So I am having to, in this phase of my journey, which encompasses a whole lot of stuff, navigate, and particularly as it relates to Grace to Grow, navigate a host of idiosyncrasies, personalities, because I literally it's a global organization. So it's a global team. We have people from Africa, different parts of Africa, the UK. We have somebody who's from Russia. And so just those personalities and, the differences in culture and everything, I'm learning to navigate all of that. How challenging is it for you as you in your own space, because you're interacting with people, globally, in Jamaica and so on, different industries and at different levels? How challenging is it as a leader, you find, to navigate that? And when do you need to pull back? We talk about the pulling back and the going forward.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So I serve on 2 global boards. One is the Global Creative Economy Council that has people from Kyrgyzstan to Egypt to South Africa, like very, very diverse. I also serve on the Global Cultural Districts Network on their advisory board. And that's, again, it's a very, very diverse group. I think it's an opportunity to learn and grow. Like that gives me fuel. I really like to see how people think in different parts of the world. I like because sometimes we can get stuck in the way things are done here. And it's sometimes when you're a leader, if you're the leader of the organization, it's hard for you to grow. So it's very, very good to kind of have these global networks and see how things are done in different locales. It helps me to learn. So it doesn't, what throws me off the most is, when they want to meet and it's 2 a.m. So finding a common time zone is probably the most difficult thing, but I really do, I do enjoy those kind of opportunities to interact with a global, and of course, we're always interacting with a global audience, right? So because we're running a tourism
Product, yeah.
award-winning,
Award-winning, yes.
we get guests from all over the world. And so you really have to navigate, okay, there's a group of school children from Quebec that are coming, or there's a group coming from Panama, or whatever the case is. And you have to be able to navigate as well. So yeah, I think Jamaica has always been able to welcome the world, and hopefully more of our creators will be able to go out to the world as well. Yeah.
Wow, so much interesting stuff. Talking with Andrea Dempster Chung of Kingston Creative. We're going to take our final break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap with some interesting insights on the way forward. Coming up, Liberty Tech Talk. It's now time for Liberty Tech Talk, brought to you by Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Digital presence is no longer an option. It's absolutely important for small businesses' survival and growth. Here is how Liberty Business can help you scale online with our smart solution. We provide a unique solution called Email Pro. And the great thing about Email Pro is that no longer you will have to be using the domains Hotmail, Gmail, or Yahoo.com. You'll be using a professional domain. And the beauty about this is that you'll be able to use it on your company business card. You're able to sync this with your WhatsApp, able to sync it with your email, and it just allows your business to have that professional feeling. With our e-marketing pro, customers are able to disseminate key information. You are able to get a platform that allows you to cascade SMS message to your customers with your offerings and liking. This is very important, and you have to be able to communicate with your customer in the digital realm, and this is one such platform that customers are taking advantage of. This allows you to email to as much as 15,000 customers. This is a win-win proposition and a different way to communicate digitally. You don't need a big budget or a big team to grow your business online. Simple, smart solution, and the right support is all you need. Let's grow your business digitally.
That was Liberty Tech Talk. Welcome back. It is our final segment, unfortunately, in conversation with Andrea Dempster Chung of Kingston Creative. Andrea, so I need to know from you now your vision for Kingston Creative and the Caribbean as a whole, because you're impacting not just, Jamaicans and Jamaica, but your regional, even global, actually. So let's talk about your vision, what it is that you hope to see over the next, say, 10 years.
I mean, it's a legacy conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very intentional when I started this conversation. I knew it would be a lot of hard work. I think the shift that I most want to see is that creatives are empowered, is that creatives are able to make money, that the community is around downtown and center of downtown is thriving, that it's seen as an art district. And I mean, and in 100 years, downtown should be our place to be. It should be the premium place to be, but still full of culture, still with creatives, not shining like Miami, still look like Kingston. So there's a balance, but in my vision, Kingston is a creative capital of the Caribbean. That's our vision. Kingston is a creative capital of the Caribbean. And so it's just about positioning our city as, a shining light where all creatives come and all people come to consume anything cultural.
How do you pull your people together? What is your strategy for getting the right people on board?
So you mean getting the right people on the bus?
Absolutely.
I think it's about clarity of messaging. If you have a clear vision, people know what you're about, and they're attracted to that. And it becomes very obvious when someone is on the bus who doesn't have the same vision or same purpose. So I really like actually being in the NGO space. I think I've worked in government, worked in private sector, and now in third sector. And the third sector space is super, super rewarding because profit is not at the top of your strategy. It's really the customer. It's what do the people want? What is it you're trying to deliver to people? And that's been, really interesting to shape strategic plans, 10-year plans with people at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Using the bus analogy still, riding that one, how do you get the wrong person off the bus?
Well, maybe sometimes I suffer people on the ride a little longer than I should. But I mean, I think, again, it's just about having that conversation. If you are not a good fit, you are going to know it and I'm going to know it. And I think it's not fair to have someone on the bus who is not, because it impacts your culture so much, it impacts the rest of your team. Everybody is carrying the weight. So it's important it's not even just for you, it really is important for the other people on the team to ensure that the right people are on the bus. Otherwise, someone is carrying extra weight or not moving as fast as they could. So it's a tough job, but sometimes you have to have difficult conversations. And again, I think when you separate and it's like, you're not a bad person, you're just not the right person for this at this time, and then the conversation gets easier because it's not personal.
Yes.
And I always try and have these conversations without it being that our relationship is ended. What I've learned is that you will meet people again and again and again, different circles, different spheres. Life is long, right? And the world is round. So how you treat people in the moment where maybe you have power and they don't, it's very important because things will come back around and they have your name in their mouth. So it's always just important to be kind and to be caring, which is another one of our leadership values.
So as we wrap our conversation, which is so very interesting, what's the one piece of advice that you'd like to give to an entrepreneur who is listening now, perhaps thinking, I want to be in the creative industry, I want to, what's that piece of advice that you'd give to that entrepreneur?
I mean, I would say that the creative industries is an amazing industry to be a part of. I mean, if you have a talent, you can also make money in this industry. There's tons of examples of people all over the world who are thriving and doing the thing that they love. So I would say to just start. Just start small and build your community, build your team. You don't have to be good at everything, so gather the right people around you, get the right advice, get a mentor. Your mentor doesn't have to know, send them a mentor. Be observant, right? Network. So this would be my advice. Just get in the spaces and start doing what you're doing and do it to the best of your ability and success will come.
Andrew, this has been an amazing conversation I've had with you. I really want to thank you so much for coming by, the Entrepreneurial, you sharing your wisdom, your experience, your nuggets. I took away a lot from that and I know that my audience did as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome to share with your Caribbean audience. So I hope somebody got something out of this discussion today. It was really a pleasure.
Absolutely. That brings us to the end of our enlightening conversation with Andrea Dempster Chung. I hope you're leaving as inspired and motivated as I am. Stay tuned. There's more coming up right here on the Entrepreneurial You. Now it's time for Community Connection, a special segment where we shine the spotlight on exciting projects, inspiring initiatives, and many features from our sponsors or from my own journey. Whether it's a behind-the-scenes look, a community highlight, or a sponsor story, this is where we celebrate the connections that drive positive change. Let's dive in. Today, I'm excited to spotlight an event that's making waves across the region, the Leadership Boost 2025, a one-of-a-kind leadership and empowerment experience for women entrepreneurs and leaders. Picture this. From November 3 to 7, 2025, you'll set sail across Royal Caribbean's Liberty of the Seas, departing from Fort Lauderdale and journeying to the breathtaking Coco Key and Nassau in the Bahamas. This isn't just any cruise. It's a perfect 5-day blend of business, inspiration, and relaxation designed for women who are ready to lead, grow, and connect on a whole new level. Dive into hands-on sessions focused on leadership, business growth, and personal development led by women leaders and industry experts. Of course, we'll have LeaderCast speakers, and if you know LeaderCast, you know it's an amazing lineup of speakers. Then, of course, there's powerful networking. We're building meaningful connections with fellow women entrepreneurs and decision makers from Jamaica and, of course, extended beyond Jamaica. Ready to step into your next level of leadership? I'm sure you are. For more details or to reserve your spot, I invite you to email Heneka at henekawatkisporter.com or send me a WhatsApp 876-849-2571. Don't miss this chance to be part of a movement that's empowering women, building community, and redefining what's possible in business and leadership. And that's all for today's Community Connection. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and passion. A very big thank you to our sponsors, Liberty Business, JPS, Digital Video Content, Madison Chai, and HenekaWatkis-Porter.com. Every breakthrough begins with the right questions, the right insights, and the courage to take action. Here on the Entrepreneurial, we're not just sharing stories, we're igniting transformation, one conversation at a time. My deepest thanks to Andrea Dempster Chung for inspiring us with her vision and leadership. If you're hungry for more inspiration and practical wisdom, don't forget to tune in to the Entrepreneurial podcast available where you listen to podcasts. Let's keep building, dreaming, and winning together. For more inspiration, resources, and exclusive content, please visit HenekaWatkis-Porter.com where you'll find my podcast, books, information on how to get me to coach you, information on how to invite me to speak at your events, or courses designed to help you thrive. As Zig Ziglar puts it, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. What good? With Andrea Dempster Chung, I need to say that again, who are transforming the business landscape. No, but by the way, can they join me for Show Creative Spotlight, an event that makes what good? No, that's all right. I should be talking to the camera, right? Yes.